the venom is going to come towards Danny for not doing something, but he's been told from up above, we are not going into the tax. So I do not care. If that's the case, how much heat can you put on him in this situation?
I hope Danny's playing us all for fools and just saying this with in the back of the mind. He's making like a blockbuster deal. I really hope that's what's happening. Because if that's what's happening, it's just like, ha, 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 Danny, you got me. Nice one. But if that's not happening, a lot of people are going to be looking at him with
Sherrod, how can they even make a blockbuster deal? We've said this a million times. They don't even have any tradable assets. Rob Williams is your only one, and you just told us you won't trade him for anybody aside from Anthony Davis. So how the hell are they going to make a blockbuster trade? They don't have anybody to trade. And the other thing is this, at the trade deadline, you're not trading from a position of power if you're Danny Ainge. You're overpaying for somebody that a team doesn't want or doesn't need at this stage in their season or the franchise's path that they're on. So again, what?
This could be a semantic argument though. Sherrod, what do you mean, just for Jimmy's sake? What do you mean when you say blockbuster? Does Harrison Barnes count?
No.
So
to me, when I think about a blockbuster deal, I think about bringing in someone that is going to absolutely change your team dramatically. Give you something that
Jimmy's saying. How do you do that?
Here's a thought. Let's just say Andre Drummond gets bought out and he hits the buyout market. You don't trade for him. He hits the buyout market. Can you convince a player who is having one of his best seasons when he was playing to come to Boston for the rest of the year? Can you convince a player like that? Because if you add him, now all of a sudden, he can't defend Joel Embiid, but he damn sure can get buckets at the other end of the floor. You got guys who are going to rotate fouls with him. To me, adding someone who has the potential to get you past at least one of the teams that are already ahead of you in the pecking order, that to me is what a blockbuster deal can do for you. And right now, I don't see them adding that player. And
who is that player?
There's nobody even out there.
Who is it, and how do they get him?
They don't.
To me, Andre Drummond is one of the few players that I think if you add him to the mix,
he counts as a blockbuster.
Andre Drummond. What year are we in?
You think Harrison Barnes is going to move the needle? You think Harrison Barnes moves you closer to getting past Philly?
No, I don't. But he's a good depth guy. I guess he could start for you and whatever.
PJ Tucker's a nice player that we didn't see out there for Houston who could do some things for you. They need to do something, Jim. They need to add somebody to make this team better. That's my point. No, and at that point, that becomes a blockbuster deal in Boston because they haven't added anybody at the deadline to make them better since Isaiah Thomas.
Getting Andre Drummond is like the tiniest blockbuster in the history of blockbusters. Nobody in the world would think that's a blockbuster. I'm all for them adding a piece or two to like I said, make the bench a little bit stronger, bring a guy that can spot start, free up Tatum and Brown, all those things. I'm all for that. But there's no.
So you want Harrison Barnes?
It depends what they ask.
What are they asking for? I want Lonzo. That's what I want.
I'd love Lonzo too. Harrison Barnes, I'm fine with, but I'm not putting Harrison Barnes on this pedestal that some people are saying like Harrison Barnes is going to take us to the NBA Finals. That's not the case.
You're not getting Lonzo.
So I'm not willing to give up. I'm not willing to give up that much for Harrison Barnes because I don't think it's going to be the difference in the end. And I'd rather hold on.
I'd want Lonzo too, but they're not getting Lonzo.
Yeah. First off, Drummond's a fait accompli.
Drummond's going to go for like a second-round pick.
Drummond's a buyout, and Drummond's walking. He's just literally just heading right to Brooklyn, and that's the end of that.
Or LA, one of the
LA. I think LA. LA, he'll actually play in LA.
Right.
He'll actually play in LA. He's not going to play that much in Brooklyn.
No, he'll jump right on LeBron's back all the way to the NBA Finals.
Why not?
In LA. But that's the other thing about the Celtics is they're not in a position to get these buyout guys either. And again, like anybody they get isn't, in my opinion, going to put them ahead of a team like the Nets in the East.
Yeah.
The Nets are on another level right now. As long as they can stay healthy and they don't, implode, Kyrie Irving can keep his head on straight. Nobody's beating them in the East, and I don't think anyone in the league is going to beat them. I don't think the Lakers will beat them this year.
And Danny will never admit this, but low key, he's got to be thinking that there's nothing that I can do that's going to put us ahead of Brooklyn. And if there's nothing I can do to put us ahead of Brooklyn, why am I going to jeopardize assets to do that?
Right. Exactly.
Let me just put together the team that I got. If my team that I got right now can get healthy, we're competitive. We're competitive with just about everyone in the East. But right now, Brooklyn has more firepower, and I thought I would never see this. They're actually defending. they're actually freaking defending. Great team defense. They've had a couple stinkers along the way, but overall, where they were when they first got James Harden and where they are now, my goodness, night and day.
So there's one guy that we didn't mention that Sherrod, you guys mentioned on your A-List podcast, Jerami Grant. I mean, is he a guy that would be a blockbuster-esque type trade? But again, I mean,
they're not trading him.
Right. It doesn't sound like at least it sounds like it costs a lot if they were to.
Well, it not only would it cost a lot, but the reason why it would cost a lot is because Detroit doesn't want to trade him. The only way they would trade him was if you came with a deal that was absolutely just completely blew them away. And even if you put 2 or 3 picks plus the trade exception out there, that still won't be enough because Jerami Grant is in the first year of a 3-year, $60 million deal. Detroit has nothing even remotely close to a number 1, 2, or 3 player for a legitimate playoff team. Jerami Grant, if the Pistons are a legitimate playoff contender, he's probably your 3rd best player. You look at his salary, $20 million. That's about what the 3rd best player is going for these days. When you look at this, look at the Celtics. You got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kemba Walker. Jaylen Brown is probably that number 3 guy in the pecking order, and you look at his salary. Yeah, that's pretty consistent with what Jerami Grant is getting. So
it would take a
why would Detroit do that?
Williams.
It makes no sense for a million reasons. I have no belief that Detroit would do that. None.
No. But
I don't think there's anything the Celtics could do to get him. So I don't even think it's worth talking.